Welcome back to the channel. So we are, or where did we finish? Yes, Wednesday 23rd. So we're going to head into Wednesday 24th. I made a point about the fact that there was no high time frame framework to form a trade yesterday. So what we're going to do, let's fast forward, as we're only concentrating on the AM session. So we're going to fast forward now to Thursday, where we do have some high impact news. So that's going to significantly change sorry, apologies. Move that. Black. There we go. It's continued lower. But again, because there was no well, we're not trading the PM session, so yeah, so there's probably mistrading the PM session, but as we're not trading it, yeah, okay. Where are we? Gee whiz. My goodness. And one more. My God, not looking good for this session. Oh, look, we've got a bit of consolidation. Okay. Let's analyze rather quickly you want to see sort of signs of a likely setup, and if I'm being honest, I am not seeing that at all. But let's get rid of all of these levels. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, so we're just going to get rid of key price levels, displaced through this old low. Might need to bear with me. Okay. So I just want to clear out some. We can, yeah, I guess we can keep the previous day's low. Where do we have a? Yeah, we probably didn't. We didn't have high time frame framework, but we were anticipating further lower prices. So on that side of things, we've done pretty well. And now we've taken out the external range liquidity that was below here. So it is actually quite difficult to frame something now. But we're gonna go through. Let's take some information. But as I said, it's likely to be a real troublesome one. Yeah, it's likely to be a troublesome one. Okay, well, we know nothing has really changed in the sense that IOF is to the downside. That's following the high time frame displacement, and then we've seen that continuation of follow through, market structure shift as well. So all things supported lower prices there. So we can make a note of that. Yeah, so we can make a note of that. And currently daily 4-hour there, and then displacement lower through this level here. Get rid of that. Okay, and maybe that was supported. So IOF to the downside. The H4 is bearish as well. So there's, the other things just to note here is that so I've noted that, and if we go out to the daily, see it more clearly here because we obviously had the market structure shift here, but not necessarily looking at it as market structure shift. But what we can say is we've noted how old lows have been displaced through, whilst old highs have been manipulated. So supporting, oh god, can't spell manipulated. Supporting lower prices. Okay, I will be right back. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're back. Let's get into this. So as I said, yes, supporting old lows. We can see how the old lows have been displaced through, old highs been manipulated, and then we've traded lower. So clearly, institutional order flows to the downside. Now, internal range to external range, we did mark this for quite some time, where we saw how the market traded below this external range liquidity here. And for those who Just want to see what I'm referencing here, and even this one here. So we traded below here, rejected, as we can see from that candle, set the stage for higher prices to trade up into this CB weekly. We had Kraken correlation here, ultimately IRL to ERL. That's now being delivered, which is a shame because I wanted it to be delivered today, but that's neither here or there. So in terms of IRL, ERL, we just need to wait for further information because it's not clear. You know, if we're going to see an IRL to ERL, then we would want to see price trade up into some form of imbalance, not necessarily relative to the weekly time frame. It could be to the daily, or it could be to the 4 hour, but preferably weekly or daily. Find a level of resistance / support lower, and then we target the external range low. That doesn't look likely to happen right now because of where we are in price. Now, are we going to see potentially a continuation lower to an old low? It's quite probable. We just need to see how the market is reacting. Now, for me personally, looking even at the H4 time frame, there is no cracking correlation at the lows below the true week open. There isn't any, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of what I would look for. So that only really leaves for me a continuation of higher prices. Their price would have to do a lot in this situation here for me to frame a trade. Now, you know, if you look at NQ, you got these highs here, which you've got on ES. Oh, nice stacked liquidity above here. So at some point in time, we are going to want to see a cracking correlation at the lows, support the idea of higher prices, but currently we don't have that. So internal range to external range liquidity, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to make a note just for completeness, but it's going to read, this has delivered to the weekly target. Therefore, unless we see an continuation lower, then this is likely. Sorry, if we're not going to see a continuation lower, then I am going to remain on the sidelines until further information becomes available. And as simple as that. That's ultimately it. If we're not going to continue lower, which, you know, if I'm honest, wouldn't necessarily want to be getting on shorts, but at the same time, if the market's offering that opportunity to, and you have a model to do so, then you've got to take what your model is giving to you, right? And that is fundamentally the laws of trading. You formulate your model, it gives you an opportunity to enter. If you've determined that your model is profitable over time, then over time you will be profitable. So it's as simple as that. So anyway, moving on. SPs, I have noted the clean and clear swing point referencing the previous day's high. which formed above the true week open, supporting the idea of high probability shorts. If it was traded to, which is highly unlikely based on where price is, it's more likely to be a draw on liquidity than it is to trade all the way up there, create some form of cracking correlation, and then return lower. That's highly unlikely. Okay, so we know where the resting liquidity is. And being honest, in terms of cracking correlation per se, we're looking for a between days. And we haven't seen that. We saw an SMT at the highs, but I didn't particularly like that SMT. But the reality is, where it formed, we saw lower prices. So clearly, that SMT was noteworthy enough to drive prices lower. But in all honesty, we would have expected to have seen another cracking correlation at the highs to support further accumulation and run lower, and we haven't seen that. So SPTO, for completeness, all members are currently below their respective true week open, which would support the idea of higher prices. However, we need to see structure. However, in order to see higher prices, we would need to see structure. Okay, so that's where we are in terms of game plan. I mean, the easiest thing to, and again, because there's no high time frame framework, it just makes things increasingly more difficult to frame something, because we're not seeing what we wanted to see in terms of that trade framework and so on. So I think where we've got this range would mean we need to keep an eye on these two. But we know that the market could just open and trade lower. Okay, so just going to add these. Bear with me. Okay. So in terms of game plan, I don't really have anything right now. But we do know framework and structure is to the downside. So that there's no reason to hold on. What's going on here? Oh. Okay. Yeah, so there's no reason yet to chase anything. It's important to wait, be patient. Okay. So that's kind of what I'm working with. We're gonna see how structure plays out. So we're not going to document a game plan yet. I'm going to drop down to the hourly, see what we've got. It's just not really conducive for a trade. Okay. Got these two levels here. All right, so we can see how there was a level of accumulation in here. I was gonna say. Whilst I'm here, let me just sort out. Okay. Sorted that. So we can see that there was rejection here. So I'm going to mark that up. But at the same time, if we trade through it, then the likelihood is near term we're going to travel up to here, especially if we identify the 15-minute breaker in here. And this is just really to tell the story, but also act as the sacrificial lamb, so to speak. Okay, I don't think there's much more to add to this, so we're going to play on. Let's get to... we want the news. And we want equities open. Okay. Let's crack on. Let's see what we've got. So we're going to set this up to 5 minutes, as we do, and then we're going to play this through. Let's go. Let's see what the news delivers. Do that being a little bit more like that. So we're inside of the range, London low, London high. Anticipating one of them to be purged, likely the low, because we are in closer proximity to it. And time is 7:30, so okay. Here's the news. See if we get any volatility. A little bit. Didn't take out the low. So likely coming back to that level. Okay, we've got a fair value gap being left. Okay. So we've got M15 displacement, but we've got no cracking correlation. We've got no nothing. So we're going to continue. Not really looking favourably to this day because I've got nothing to frame to the upside. Frame down. Oh. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I'm just looking at this. We're in the trade execution window. I'm not looking at anything favorably with this price action. Nothing at all is compelling me to put risk into the market. NQ has traded away from the midnight open and through the SIBI, so that in itself is indicating a run to a premium market, pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much dictating that. So But as we can see on ES, we haven't traded through that same key PDA. So I'm just going to wait and see what happens, I guess. We need one of these members to trade up into at least EQ. So again, it's like, what is there for us? And look at the time. We're now outside of the trade window. There was nothing that we could frame at the lows. Like I said, there's just nothing. And the fact that there was no real high time frame crack and correlation typically means that we're likely coming to revisit these lows. And I mean, we have formed relative equal lows, so the likelihood is during the PM session we could come back, and we may look at the PM session, despite the fact that I've said we're focusing on the New York AM session. We may look PM, especially if ES closes above there, which it appears to. Okay, not looking rather favourable, so we've traded into a CB here. So one or two things in terms of a game plan that we could potentially see, because we have tapped into a premium of the range. We only need one member to do that. If we fan out to the 4 hour, hasn't managed to get there. ES is the only one. We can potentially frame something after the rejection. Okay, I'm going to leave this session here. It's a shame, but we will come back for the PM session. Oh, crap. Oh, this bloody thing. Oh, look at this. I have no idea why it does this, but nonetheless. Well, I'll check. We can check the M5 when we come back, or in fact, check the M1, the H1. Just not really. There was a small fair value gap there. Okay. There you go. So, I wouldn't be surprised if we still see higher prices. There is a fair value gap here. Of certain interest, should we say? But yeah, nothing here. There was no high time frame framework again. I kind of anticipated that based on the large range previous day. That kind of essentially committed to probably a choppy day today, and we saw that in the morning session. So on that note, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you took something away from this session. We will explore the PM session. We will do that. So I'll come back for a part 2 to explore the PM session. But until then, hopefully you took something away, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.